Today is Tuesday the 1st of August and we have a slight change of plan. We are saying goodbye to the Balearics and heading to mainland Spain. We decided that this morning after a terrible night at anchor, another terrible night at anchor, between the rolling and the boats coming in at late hour, anchoring on top of us, the party music that went on till about 3 in the morning. And since we're not getting any sleep anyway, we're doing an overnight and we're going a little further than we had originally intended. We're going all the way down to Santa Pola. So that's goodbye to the Balearics. Besides a close encounter during my first watch of the night, with a yacht that was sailing with only their anchor light on and no one on watch, at 01:56 on the morning of the 2nd of August 2023, we crossed back to the Western Hemisphere, the first time in 7 years since arriving in Fiji from Tonga in 2016. Today is the 2nd of August. We've just completed our overnight from the Balearic Islands to the Spanish mainland. Santa Polo is this area. We're just turning towards the marina now, but we have to wait till around 9 o'clock before it opens, we understand, before we can actually go in. So yeah, woohoo! We're at the Spanish mainland. By 9:15 we were safely tied up in our berth, following which we got the water and electricity connected, the latter needed so we could run the air conditioners in the sweltering heat, even though it meant hauling out the transformer. Then, after Roy completed the officialdom at the marina office, we set out to explore. This is our marina that we're going to be in for a few days, and we found the source of where the parties start. They're ready for a party. So this is the rest of the marina. We're right down at the far dock. As I come round, this is all the coffee shops and restaurants along here. It's a very big marina. Here's the rest of the establishment with all the restaurants. And if I come round, there's the marina. This caffeine and sugar boost, however, did nothing to alleviate our fatigue, but after an afternoon nap, we were able to enjoy a delicious dinner of traditional Santa Paula rice with lobster. So this is our first evening out on mainland Spain. The town is called Santa Pola, and the sun's gone down. It's cooled down quite a lot, and the whole place has come to life. There's just loads of restaurants along here. The strip goes on for quite some way, and it even crosses over, carries all the way around. But yeah, everybody out having dinner, enjoying the cooler weather.
Bueno, a ver si os habéis aprendido ya una vez el baile. ¿Es así? Dale tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena, que tu cuerpo va a dar la alegría y cosa buena. Dale tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena. Macarena. Dale tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena, que tu cuerpo va a dar la alegría y cosa buena. Dale tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena. Macarena. Macarena, tengo.
The following day was spent cleaning Pawpaw and adjusting dock lines, as the wind we were expecting and had been the reason for our early departure from the Balearics had started to arrive. The brunt of the wind arrived overnight, hitting 28 knots in the protected marina. We were definitely delighted not to be in an exposed anchorage off Ibiza Island. It's the evening of the 4th of August. It's our last night in Santa Pola, and we decided to venture a little further afield to where all the locals eat, and this is the town square, and the restaurant we are going to eat at, believe it or not, is another Italian restaurant. Seem to have an affinity for Italian restaurants down the street. They're busy setting up. It is 8 o'clock at night and these restaurants are only opening now. Saturday the 5th of August. We spent 3 days in the marina in Santa Paula. Got Foko all cleaned up, had a bit of a rest, enjoyed a few meals out, and we're on our way again. So it's goodbye to Santa Paula. We continue to make our way down the coast, heading towards Cartagena, and this is some of the scenery along the way. Lots of larger towns we've seen. This one looks particularly interesting. Everything built on the rock face. Other than these few little mountains here, it's been particularly flat, the mainland, but pretty anyway. So we're getting closer to the area where the orcas are attacking the yachts, and we're staying as close to the shoreline as we can in the recommended depth of no more than 60 feet, 20 meters. But there's all these yachts coming up the coast the other way. Obviously they're moving away from the area, and they are literally 1 foot in this sand. There's 4 of them in a row. There's another one. Zoom in, I don't know if you'll be able to see. There's another one there, and there's the 4th one. And they are really taking the advice seriously. I think we'll be doing that the closer we get to the area. And this has to be the tiniest beach we've seen in Spain. There's people actually on it. Right up at the bottom of the mountains. Come down and there it is. En route, while Roy ran the water maker and kept watch, I reviewed the orca situation, and we weren't altogether thrilled to learn the attacks in the Mediterranean Sea had more than doubled since the last time I'd looked at the statistics before leaving the Balearic Islands. By 1600 we were tied up to our dock, but not before we had to drift outside the harbour for about half an hour, per instructions from port control, while a gas tanker burst. After a wander around the waterfront, we enjoyed another delicious seafood paella. It was rather odd, though, that the enormous waterfront area and very clean, tidy town was basically deserted. Finding a submarine haul-out facility was, however, a first. The waterfront did come to life as the heat of the day subsided, but it was still an enormous area for the relatively few people around. The following day, after a quiet and relaxing morning, although we woke to 2 cruise ships in the harbour, we decided to explore Cartagena anyway, a major Spanish naval base since the 16th century and the capital of the Spanish Navy's Maritime Department of the Mediterranean since the 18th century, evident by the enormous natural harbour and infrastructure built around it. We had vowed, however, yesterday that we definitely weren't doing any uphill walks, so what do? We visit the Castella della Concepcion, the iconic castle from the Middle Ages, which of course sits atop a hill. En route to the castle, we passed a number of historic sites, including the Wall of Carlos III, a defensive wall built around the old city at the request of King Carlos III and constructed from 1771 to 1781. We also passed the spiral staircase, which had fantastic murals resembling an aquarium, as well as the Autopsy Pavilion, a rather strange name for this construction built in 1768. But as the name implies, it was originally part of the Royal Navy Hospital, where student surgeons took their anatomy classes. Today is Sunday the 6th of August. We decided to stay another night in the marina as they could accommodate us. And today we're taking a walk uphill, as you can tell from my breathing, to yet another castle. But we woke up to 2 cruise ships in the harbour, which you can see one of them sort of through the trees here. So it's relatively busy. We haven't quite made it up to the castle yet. We're still on our way up, but this is a view. Not sure what that is, but it looks lovely. You can see some ancient ruins. Very modern amphitheatre here as you come around. around, you can see how large this natural harbour is. And there's the 2 cruise ships that are in town that we woke up to this morning. Once we reached the top of Castello della Concepcion, we enjoyed fabulous views and could see the full extent of the enormous natural harbour, as well as the old town. Since we were also able to see the ruins of the Santa Maria Cathedral, later research revealed that the cathedral was destroyed during the Spanish Civil War. As a backdrop, we could also see the more modern high-rise residential areas that stood in the distance. So we've made it up to the top of the tower, and these are the views. This is coming round to the actual city. You can see it's very densely populated and quite large. And if I zoom in, there is Popo on her tea dock. So she's enjoying the rest as well. Here's some more views as we've walked around the tower. A better view of the actual city harbour. It's massive. The 2 cruise ships that are in. There's the rest of it. And there's a bit more of the city. Not very pretty at all in terms of the city. So we're inside the castle. There goes Roy through another opening. I'm not going to go any further. But it's literally very claustrophobic, to be honest. That's the little hole we came through, so I'm just going to go back out. Cartagena was founded in the 3rd century BC, around 223 BC, and has a fascinating history. Founded by an empire hailing from what is now Tunisia, and which reached its height in the 4th century BC, it became one of the largest metropolises in the world and a major power in the ancient world that dominated the western and central Mediterranean Sea, but was subsequently conquered by the Romans in 209 BC. In 1245, the city was conquered by the armies of Prince Alfonso of Castile, who later became King Alfonso X, following which Christians began to settle in the city. However, since difficulties were encountered in repopulating the abandoned Muslim town with Christians, Castello della Concepcion was never finished. Afterwards, a coffee and baked delight was enjoyed at a rather quirky cafe just off the main square called the Tin Soldier. Today is Tuesday the 8th of August, and as you can see, very hazy, misty sunrise. As you come round, this is some of the scenery we're seeing this morning, and completing our overnight from Cartagena to Motril. This is one of the little towns along the way, and this looks like some hot houses. I come round. It's the first time we've seen this since we left Turkey. And a bit further around, there's the headland that we have to go around to get to our destination. Doing this overnight has saved us 3 day stops, so it's definitely worth it. So here's a view closer up of what we're looking at, and as I come round, I'll zoom in a bit. That looks like the road that's coming down the mountainside. And then come round, you can see other bits of it. There's another section. These mountains are actually quite spectacular. You come round to the end of the headland. And that's the lighthouse. But really, really pretty, even though it's very desolate looking. It's still very pretty. Back to the little town. So we've come round the headland, and it's pretty impressive civil engineering here, I must say. And this is the little town of Motril, and our marina is just over there somewhere. By 09:45 we were safely secured to the tea dock at Marina Motril, a family-run establishment, after a warm welcome from Roberto, the owner, and his able helper, as well as receiving friendly and efficient service from the marina office staff, all of which definitely lived up to the marina's reputation of being the friendliest marina in Spain. We would even go as far to say the best marina in the Mediterranean, based on our experience thus far. It may not be pretty, but it's reasonably priced and it's out of the tourist trap, conveniently located within walking distance of the little town and beach. Although we had wanted to visit Alhambra, a palace and fortress complex located in Granada, just 45 minutes drive from Motril, one of the most famous monuments of Islamic architecture and one of the best preserved palaces of the historic Islamic world, we unfortunately could not get tickets until after our planned departure from Motril. This turned out to be a good thing, albeit disappointing, because we both really needed a rest. Instead, and to stretch our legs, we decided to explore the little town of Motril, finding another neat, tidy town with a lovely beach and waterfront area. Our wander around the town in search of the local supermarket gave us a nice glimpse into local Spanish life, away from the touristy places we had visited to date. This included a very different architecture than what we had seen before. It's Thursday the 10th of August. We have another rather dull sunrise, very misty and hazy this morning. But we have left Motril Marina after spending 2 nights there, and we continue down the coast heading west, and we are on our way to Malaga. Almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we are approaching Malaga. This is a bit of the coastline we can see, but we've had this low cloud and fog basically the whole morning, and it continues. Makes visibility more difficult, and of course we don't get to see the coastline. But this is very built up, Costa del Sol. But yeah, not very sunny today. By this stage of our Mediterranean adventure, we were within spitting distance of the Atlantic Ocean and had almost connected the dots. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we had to wait outside the port for a cargo ship and a ferry, and then we proceeded in. We're now in the IGY Malaga Marina, which is actually for super yachts, but we're the only yacht here. It's right in the center of town, and aside from these few tourist boats that are going to ferry people out to wherever, there's nobody else here. We've got the whole yacht basin to ourselves right in the middle of town.
So this is a picture of the IGY Super Yacht Marina in Malaga, Spain. Beautiful big marina. Lovely, ain't it? Beautiful. Look at all that space. And there's one yacht in this marina. Paw. Oh, we're not even a super yacht.
After a very friendly welcome and completing all the paperwork at the marina office, we returned to Paw to drop off all our officialdom documentation and headed for the old town, and what a lovely surprise awaited us once again. Besides the enormous waterfront area around the harbour and marina, lined with cafes, restaurants, bars and numerous high-end shops, there were beautiful tree-lined streets and malls to wander along and lush gardens to explore. So after getting docked at the IGA Malaga Marina, which actually is a super yacht marina, It's right in the center of town. We've walked across to the tree-laned roads here and the gardens, and it's really very well done. Nice nice gardens, nice shade, really nice. All of the gardens actually very lush. There we go, come round. As we wandered through the gardens and along the wide open walkways, we discovered well-maintained old buildings, the ancient castle, Roman ruins including the amphitheatre and the stunning cathedral. On this occasion though, we definitely did not hike up to the castle, nor did we enter the cathedral, the latter due to the ridiculous price wanted as an entrance fee. We definitely don't mind giving a donation, but that's where we draw the line. We were clearly back in the tourist trap. Instead, we wandered the streets, enjoyed the atmosphere, found the Sherlock Holmes pub for a cold beverage, and then enjoyed a steak dinner. We were both somewhat over squid and octopus, cooked numerous different ways by this point. We've had a walk around the old town, and we've had dinner, and we're continuing to explore the area. And there's all of these huge, big, tiled walkway areas. And then as I come around, here's some of the Roman ruins. This is obviously an amphitheatre, and this is the other side of the castle. It's absolutely enormous.
Detrás de ti ya no puedo ir. Solo puedo oír tu voz que me grita desde lejos y que mata el silencio. Si me rompes una cuerda, la cicatriz se queda hecha. No quiero escapar.
On Friday, the 11th of August, we were both awake early, but instead of a sunrise at sea, we decided to enjoy an early morning walk along the beachfront and enjoyed the sunrise from there. After a light breakfast along the waterfront, we cast off the dock and set sail for Estepona, our last stop in the Mediterranean Sea. Today is the 11th of August. We left Malaga, but before we actually departed this morning, instead of a sunrise departure, we actually enjoyed a walk along the beachfront, enjoyed the sunrise that way just for a change, then had breakfast on the waterfront of the harbour, and started to meander around the coast. Starboard engine is on. We are motor sailing, and today we can actually see some of the coastline. Yesterday with the low cloud and fog, we could hardly see anything. This is the coastline. We're pretty close to it because we have entered Orca Alley, and further recommendations to motor for starters, but also to stay within the 20-meter depth contour. So that's what we're doing. We've basically got one foot in the sand. So as you can hear, the wind is blowing pretty strongly, but it is behind us, which is fine. But we've still got the motor on because of the recommendations from the Spanish government with the orcas. So anyway, so we're motor sailing, but right along this coast of Costa del Sol, there hasn't been a break at all in the number of high-rise buildings. Just for miles and miles and miles, it just goes on. So once again in the Mediterranean, this weather was not forecast at all, and instead there was this morning an update to show slightly stronger winds, but not 25 to 30 knots on the fetch. And instead of abating like it's supposed to early afternoon, which is now, it's just getting stronger. So we continue on. I'm sure if we're going to be able to be in the marina in this wind, we'll have to wait till it abates a little. Today is Saturday the 12th of August, and yesterday late afternoon we got into the Estepona marina, and this morning We're just coming for a walk along the waterfront. Very nice beach and very nice promenade. All residential areas. There's Captain Roy, who's ignoring me once again. Just staring out into space. Anyway, we're going to enjoy our walk. It's hot, but pleasant. It had been a while since we had seen this practice of drying fish, but it definitely brought back memories of distant lands. It's fair to say we have been impressed with all the waterfront and beachfront promenades we've seen throughout Spain. Each one different, but just as creative, enormous and spotlessly clean as the next. Estepaña's promenade was no exception, with its wide golden sandy beach and beautiful gardens, interspersed with splash pads and fountains, separating the beachfront from the apartments and shopping area that lined the promenade on one side. During our walk, we also happened to stumble upon a boulangerie, located slightly off the beaten track, where we stopped for a coffee and a custard slice, the latter something we hadn't had in ages. This was also our first time in a marina over the weekend, and as perceived, all the weekend revelers and speed merchants had left the marina to churn up the anchorages, while we sat in a nearly empty marina. Guess that's life for those living on the coast and part of the pleasure of living near the water, but not very pleasant for transients passing through, especially when one has no choice but to anchor, given that the marinas don't have very much space open for transients, particularly for catamarans, and of course, the more lucrative option is to accommodate the local boats instead.